This is Pastor Paul on this Motivational Monday. It is good to be back with y'all. I took some time off, had a great time at the main event that Lifeway puts on for men last weekend, and I pray that any man who has the opportunity to go to the main event in Nashville, I do encourage you to do so. But on this morning, I have a word for you coming out of Mark chapter 10, verses 46 through 52. And it reads like this. And it says, "And they came to Jericho. And as he went out of Jericho with his disciples and a great number of people, blind Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, sat by the highway side begging. And when he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, Jesus, the son of David, have mercy on me. And many charged him that he should hold his peace. But he cried the more a great deal, that thou son of David, have mercy on me. And Jesus stood still and commanded him to be called. And they called the blind man, saying unto him, Be of good comfort, arise, he calleth thee. And he, casting away his garment, rose and came to Jesus. And Jesus answered and said unto him, What wilt thou that I should do unto thee? The blind man said unto him, Lord, that I may receive my sight. And Jesus said unto him, Go thy way, thy faith hath made thee whole. And immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus in the way. So just for a few moments on this morning, I want to talk to you and encourage you with this word. Don't let your vision die. Don't let your vision die. As we look at the text, if I was going to give you a few words of encouragement on how not to let your vision die, the first thing that I would have to give you is that you have to learn your self identity. You have to learn your self identity. And what I mean by that is that it's not what other people call you or what other people know you as. Maybe because you may have a dark past and you may have been known for things in your past, but you're not that person now. So you cannot let people tag you with titles and that define you. You see it in verse 4 and 46, the name Bartimaeus. When you look at the word bar, it comes from Aramaic origin and it means son. But then if you look at Timaeus in the Greek, it means the son of an unclean man. So you have Bartimaeus. They have already defined him as blind. They've also defined him as the son of an unclean man. And what I'm saying is that your titles, your tags, your identity is, number one, is not in what other people call you. Number two, your identity is not your identity of what your parents was or what your parents are. Just because you may have had, your parents may have a bad reputation does not necessarily mean that you also have to follow in that path. Number two is that when you have a vision, you can expect opposition. And the reason why I say that is that when Bartimaeus began to cry out, you have to understand is that even though Bartimaeus was blind, Bartimaeus still had a vision, and his vision was that he may receive his sight. And what I'm saying is that you have to keep your vision alive regardless of the circumstances. It may seem like you will never start a business, but you still have to keep your vision alive. It may seem like you'll never get through school, but you have to keep your vision alive. And what I'm saying is that there are people around you that does not want to see God bring your vision to pass. Because when Bartimaeus began to cry out, the people around him said, you need to shut up. You're crying too loud. You don't need to disturb Jesus. You don't need to bother him with all that noise. And the text says that the more that they told him to shut up, the more he cried. And when negative people continue to come around you, the more you should push harder, the more you should continue to stretch and reach for that vision. And it may take some miles, it may take some years, it may take some months, it may take some days, but whatever your vision is, you have to keep the vision alive. But then what the text also says is that when he made enough noise, when he cried out enough, the Lord heard him. And what I'm telling somebody is that you continue to push, you continue to pray, you continue to be faithful, you continue to study, you continue to write business plans, you continue to draw up buildings, because what I'm saying is that someday in time, God's going to hear you and he will stand still. And when God stops for you, the text says that when he stopped, he called him. And I'm telling somebody, I don't know who I'm talking to on this morning, but I'm telling you that God has a calling on your life. And the reason why that I know that God has a calling on your life is that he wouldn't give you a vision that you could not complete, because I've learned, and what I'm still learning is that God will put whatever you need in place for your vision. But then I have to tell you that, as I preached on yesterday, that James said in chapter 2, he said, faith without works is dead. And what I'm saying is, so many people let their vision die because they never react. They never step up to the plate. They never step out on faith. And what blind Bartimaeus said, he says, if I'm ever going to receive my sight, he says, I got to learn how to step out. Even though I can't see where I'm stepping, he says, I still have to step out because I got a vision that I have to complete. But notice this, and I'm almost out of here. Verse 50 says, and he, casting away his garment, rose and came to Jesus. And what Bartimaeus was doing, he was taking things away that could cause him to be snared or even be tripped up. And what I'm saying is that not everybody around you is good for you, and everything that is good is not always of God. And what I'm saying is that sometimes you got to learn how to shed some stuff off, shed some people off, shed some places off. And sometimes God has to do some shedding in your life. He has to do the shutting of some doors so that he can do some opening of doors. But you have to learn how to shed off some things that are going to trip you up, regardless. That may be people, that may be sin, that may be environments, that may be surroundings. But whatever that is, you have to make sure that if you're going to take steps toward your vision, that you have to learn that you cannot have and you cannot take any risk for people or things to trip you up. But then lastly, what he says in verse 51 is that you have to be clear in what you're communicating to God. And what I'm saying is that God is a God that is so big that he does not have limits. And oftentimes is that when we begin to tell God our vision and begin to ask God, when God has given us a vision, we are the ones that put God in the box. Well, God, I don't see how you're going to make that happen. God, I don't see how I'm going to start a business. God, I'm too old to go back to school. God, I don't know, God, if I'm able to start a family. God, I don't know if I'm ever going to get married, or God, I don't know if I'm ever going to get a job. My thing is, stop putting God in a box and allow him to work in your life, because he wants to blow your mind. And you, if you are being negative, if you are doubting God, if you're not stepping out in faith, you are putting him in a box. In verse 52, I'm out of here. And what it says, he says, go thy way. He says, thy faith. He said it wasn't your circumstance, it wasn't your condition, but it was your faith that made you whole. And what I'm saying is, keep the faith and regardless of the circumstance, and remember not to let the vision die. God bless you, and happy Motivational Monday. Be blessed.